Hello. I'm sure a lot of you in here have played video games before. It's kind of a thing nowadays. I was just wondering, how many of you could give me a guess as what the most played computer game is today? Anybody?
Diablo. Wow.
Diablo. I hear Diablo. I hear World of Warcraft. Those are the only two I heard. Actually, the most played computer game in the world today is League of Legends, which is kind of odd considering a lot of people actually haven't heard about it. But it is really an interesting game, and today I'd like to just kind of go over, maybe teach you some of the basics of the game. I'm going to start with the objectives and how you go about actually winning the game, and then I'm going to move on to how you can gain an advantage and be able to win the game instead of, getting destroyed. And finally, I'm going to move on to the importance of selecting your champion, because you have to pick at the beginning a champion to play for the whole game, and that can really affect your game a lot more than you might think. So the first point is moving on to how you can win the game. And the entire point of the game is to destroy the enemy's nexus. It's basically their base. It's their whole... It's the base. It's like the king in chess. You have to protect your own and destroy the enemies. This is the map for League of Legends. As you can see, there are two bases, one for each team. There are also 3 lanes where minions, also called creeps, will spawn every 30 seconds and go and help you destroy the enemy base. There are 3 towers in each lane that protect an inhibitor. And in order to destroy the nexus, you first have to destroy all the towers in a lane and destroy the inhibitor. And then there are 2 more towers in front of the nexus. So it's kind of a long process, but you have to go about it in a certain way. You can't just run in and kill the nexus in 5 minutes. So next I'm going to talk about gaining an advantage, because you can't just go do it at the beginning, because it's all even and you'll just get destroyed. Most of the games start out with usually 1 or 2 heroes in each of the lanes trying to level up, get experience, get gold so they can get better and gain that advantage. Because at the beginning of the game you're a low level, you're not going to be able to do much to the towers or to the nexus, and they're really strong at the beginning. But as you level and get money and get items, you can do more and be more resilient. So when they start in the lanes, they're going to start in the lanes and just be working towards leveling up and getting money, and you can do this by killing the enemy team's minions. They give you money when you kill them, and they give you experience. That's a good way to get an advantage, because if you get a good lane matchup against a different champion, you can outfarm them or maybe even kill them in the lane, and that'll really help you get ahead. Another way you can get an advantage is objectives like Baron or Dragon, which is like a global objective. If your team can kill that objective, you get a bunch of gold for all of your teammates and a bunch of experience, and in Baron's case, you get a big buff that makes your team really strong for 5 minutes. So that can be really important and help you, destroy towers and move on and try and kill their base. Another important part is killing enemies. If you want to take a tower, you can't just go tower dive and kill all the enemies, because they'll destroy you because they have a tower helping them. So if you can kill one of their players, then you'll have a 5v4 advantage or something like that, and that'll allow you to move ahead and be able to do something easier, and that'll help you move on and win the game. The last thing I would like to talk about is champion select. This is before you even start the game. You have to pick a champion that you're going to play, and it's really important. It's a lot more important than you might think, because teamwork, it's a team game. It's 5 people versus 5 people. Teamwork is very important. And part of that teamwork is picking champions that will work well together, because if you pick a bunch of champions that all heal and do no damage, you're just going to get stomped. If you pick a bunch of champions that do a bunch of damage but can't take damage, you're going to get stomped. You want synergy, you want balance, you want things like, you want a champion that maybe can go in and take a bunch of damage, while the rest of your damage dealers maybe go in and do all their damage. You want somebody with utility that can maybe Like for instance, there's a champion, Blitzcrank. He can pull an enemy towards you. So if he can land that and hit somebody that pulls somebody out of position, you can kill them really fast, you'll have an advantage. It's a really good strategy. So if you can get like that kind of thing going on, you can really, get an advantage and go to push to win the game. This is a draft pick. Basically, you ban 3 champions at the beginning. So if you know who you're playing against, know who they like to play, you can ban somebody out, and they won't be able to do much because they don't know how to play maybe the other champions. You can also see what the other team's picking during the picks, so that'll give you a good chance to maybe counter pick somebody. For instance, this is Ezreal, and maybe you want to counter him by picking Graves because Graves is really good in lane, and Ezreal is not quite at the same level. So if you see them pick somebody that you know you can beat with a certain hero, you can pick the hero that will beat them, and that can really give you a good advantage in the game. So I just want to reiterate the points. You want to win the game, you want to kill their nexus. It's like the king in chess. To do that, you need to gain an advantage some way or another, otherwise you'll just get destroyed trying to tower dive them. And finally, champion select can be a very important part because you have to find good teamwork within your team.
Monday Night Combat for top 5. Same, like concept. Right. So like.
I know you're gonna say I liked it, the video.
I might just give us the actual
Mikey, what did you think?
I think the attention grabber was good. The visuals, I think, helped a lot, like letting us understand and actually see like the game, like what you're talking about. You did a good job memorizing. You didn't really read from the note cards. You pretty much knew what you were talking about. Organization was really good. For negatives, I can't really think of any. I thought it was a pretty good speech.
All right. Well, I think there are a lot of things in it that are pretty good. The opening could be a little bit more dramatic, but I do like the idea that this League of Legends is one that people don't know very much about, but it's the most widely played game. I would like to know how you know that. Where did that information come from? So yeah, that's one of those things that you want to be citing. It sounds like there might be some good ideas in the presentation that it's really dependent on maybe your own experience playing the game. I don't know if you went to some cheat site or if there are publications that talked about some of the advantages, particularly in this game. That would have been good to make reference to. I thought the setup was fine structurally, except I couldn't really tell what the difference was between the first and the second point. They both basically sound like how to win the game. I think maybe what you need is some terminology that's going to work on this. For example, on the first point, it's really about what the objectives of the game of the two sides are in the game, and then the second point is about strategies that people are using in the game, and that's maybe the way the language could fix that problem and make it a little bit clearer what you're talking about. I got to be honest, I'm not a video game aficionado, so I have very little reference to a lot of the things that you're talking about, and I'm going, okay, I got inhibitors and towers and money and items and objectives, and I'm going, some of those just get presented and as if everybody knows what they are. I got no idea what the inhibitor thing is that you're talking about. I assume it's some kind of barrier that you have to get through when you're playing the game, But what, it's